Hey guys, what's up? It's Katy and I'm back with another Marvel Contest of Champions video, and oh boy, do I have a big one for you. So Howard the Suck may no longer be Howard the Suck anymore because yes, you've guessed it, Howard the Duck is getting an overhaul. So let's go ahead and compare how he is now in the game to how he is going to be buffed. So we're going to compare everything from like his signature ability to his specials to his basic abilities and that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing that we have is his signature ability. So pre-buff, his signature ability is mash all the buttons. And this basically triggers either Thunderstruck or self-repair. So we all know how that works. We've all either been hit with Thunderstruck or he's self-repaired when he drops to like 50% and then 20%, right? So we've all been there. But post-buff, they've actually changed it. So no longer is it called mash all the buttons, but it is called quack fu. So quack fu, so basically it's a couple different things, but any fight with class advantage triggering quack fu will gain you crit resistance equal to 40% of your armor rating, increased ability accuracy from 100% to 115%, and reduce debuff duration by 1.3 seconds. So, you know, that's really good when he's going to be facing up against mutants because he is, of course, a tech class. So let's continue on, shall we? And just look at his armor up buffs because Howard's always had armor up buffs. So prior to his buff, he begins the fight with 8 stacks of armor ups, and each time that he is struck, there's a 13% chance to lose an armor up buff. Now, post buff, this is actually pretty interesting because they've made him immune to bleed. And also buffs and debuffs expire one at a time now instead of when he's struck. So, and then you also gain an indefinite armor up, a dormant armor, I should say, before the fight even begins. So then what happens is each dormant armor is then converted into an indefinite armor up buff. So that's gonna make him pretty tanky. Like Howard was always kind of tanky and you had to kind of break through those armors, but this is going to make him even more tanky. And he's got this thing called mash, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but it's kind of I guess a way to tie in how he was before to how he is now, but we'll get into that in a minute. So just stay with me. Okay, so now let's talk about his Furies, right? Because pre-buff, as Howard takes and deals damage, his temper builds, increasing attack. So each stack of quack fu fury, his crit damage rating is increased, right? You could build up a ton of Furies with this guy if you chose to play this guy. Now, post-buff, he has a 100% chance to gain a Fury buff for 10 seconds whenever either champion is stunned. So basically, parry is going to be your best friend. Now, at 50 mash stacks, he can gain additional Furies. Now, we're going to talk about that in a little bit when we talk about his pre-fight mechanic and that sort of thing. So he has the potency to gain a lot of Furies, especially in longer fights. So I really think this new buff of his is going to be really good. He's going to be a lot better in longer fights. That's kind of where he's going to start to shine. All right, so now let's take a look at heavy attacks, which pre-buff, his heavy attacks, well, they didn't do a whole lot of anything. But post-buff now, he can actually inflict an armor break debuff for 5 seconds. And then at 10, any additional hits can inflict another armor break. So you're gonna kind of want to do different things when it tells you to. So we'll get into that here though in a little bit, but that's really good that they added an armor break mechanic onto him. Now, not many mutants with the exception of Colossus have armor breaks, but Colossus can only be armor broken by tech champions. So this is gonna make him really good against champs like, well, Colossus. Okay. So now let's talk about his special one, unarmed attack. So pre-buff, you would reduce your opponent's armor, their attack, block proficiency, regen rate, physical resistance, crit chance, and crit damage by 6% for the remainder of the fight. So you always kind of wanted to start off with the special one and then move on to the special 2 or the special 3, however, with when you were playing Howard the Duck. Now, post-buff, he's actually going to inflict 2 heal blocks for 2.5 seconds each. Now, if mash is activated, then you can inflict additional heal blocks. So you have the potential to really stack some heal blocks. So this gives him some pretty good utility, right? All right, now let's take a look at the special 2, the BFG surprise. So basically before, with the special 2 before the buff, you had basically a 30% chance to activate either heal block, power drain, poison, armor break, power lock, shock, and or weakness off the special 2. It was kind of like roll of the dice and here you go, take these effects. Well, now you have an 80% chance to inflict a suppression debuff, reducing combat power rate by 10% for 4 seconds. And then additional hits can inflict additional suppression debuffs if mash is up. So basically, he's got some form of power control here, right? This isn't the first time we've seen a suppression debuff. We've seen them before as well. So I wish it was a little bit longer than 4 seconds. But I guess we'll just have to play with him and see how he goes. I haven't had a chance to play with him yet, but hopefully this works out pretty well for Howard the Duck. All right, now let's take a look at the special 3, which was Junkyard Smackdown. So pre-buff, if you launched your special 3, you would gain a temporary buff for 9 seconds based on the opponent's class. And then crit hits with this buff active gave you different bonus effects. Now post-buff, you have a 100% chance to stun the opponent for 3 seconds. And a perfect result on the special 3 minigame results in a 4-second passive stun. So this is important because this is going to allow you, remember, to gain a Fury if you stun your opponent or if you get stunned. So that's kind of a nice little thing. 4 seconds is actually kind of long in the game when it comes to a stun. So I think that's kind of the perfect stun time after a special 3. Okay, so I talked about this mashing thing, right? So this button masher extraordinaire is basically what you do is you basically press block rapidly at different times during the fight and you get different bonuses. So, you know, that's when you're going to get the Furies or that sort of thing. You get different effects with it. So it's kind of a neat little thing. Now, each mash bonus requires more presses of block than the last within the same window. So obviously, when you're going to be doing this, you're going to have to be paying attention to the screen and paying attention to a timer and kind of wanting to choose what you want to do. It almost kind of seems a little bit along the lines of Carnage after you launch your special 1, whether you want the precision, the fury, the block proficiency, the cruelty, etc., etc. So it kind of seems maybe a little bit along those lines, but a little bit more maybe convoluted. I don't know. We'll see. Haven't had a chance to play with them, but kind of really excited to play with him to see how much better he actually is. All right, now let's talk about this pre-fight. So the pre-fight, you can turn on auto masher and that can be selected and last the duration of the fight. So basically with auto mash, all mash bonuses will be handled automatically, so you don't have to really worry about doing them. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like I can end up getting punched in the face. So I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But if you're going to place him as a defender, auto masher will always be active. So kind of keep that in mind if you want to use Howard as a defensive champion and put him on defense for war. All right, now let's talk about his synergies because they actually added some that are really good. So he has the standard friends with She-Hulk and Rocket to increase armor rating, and then they actually added Dragon Man, Man-Thing, and Man-Thing to the one with Kamala, the teammates one with Kamala, which generates a perfect block chance. Then they added all of these new ones. So Nemesis with Mcoc and Psycho Man basically increases attack. And then We Ain't No Punchline with Gwenpool, Spider-Ham, and Goldpool. So for Gwenpool, Spider-Ham, and Goldpool, plus 20% taunt, that would be for Spider-Ham. Incinerate and bleed duration for Gwenpool and Goldpool. Now Howard's actually, his crit hits pause all personal debuffs for 0.5 seconds. So that's a good synergy. And if you're running, you know, like Nick and you have Goldpool on the team, it's going to help you out. So anyways, and then we've got New York Brawlers with Daredevil, Hell's Kitchen, Doctor Strange, Luke Cage, and Stealthy. So that gives them an up to 15% attack rating based on missing health. And then for Howard, his opponents suffer minus 65% evade ability accuracy. So it's kind of a nice little way of dealing with pesky evaders. And then he's got Not So Uncanny with Gambit, Bishop, Storm Pyramid X, and Platinum Pool. And what that gives them is plus 12% prowess, duration, and potency. And that's really good for Storm Pyramid X. So I really like that a lot. Now for Howard, If you knock an opponent down who has a prowess, it's going to remove all their prowess and grant him a prowess for each effect removed, increasing his special attack damage by 10% for 10 seconds. So that's actually pretty cool. I really like that, and that helps out Storm Pyramid X a lot. So I'm a big fan of that. But anyways, guys, that is it for the kind of on paper overhaul of Howard the Duck. I think he's going to be an interesting champ to play. I'm interested to find out how this whole mash mechanic is gonna work. I'm definitely interested in that. But anyways, guys, that's all that I got. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the new Howard the Duck? Do you think he will still be Howard the Suck, or do you think this is a big improvement? What do you think of the mash mechanic, and what do you think all of the effects are going to be? Could he still have a regen and thunderquack? I don't know. I haven't got to play with them yet. Let me know in the comments below and let's discuss. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and enjoy this quick word from Kevin Smith.
Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, and if you enjoyed the mediocre Mcoc video full of scrub gameplay, then show Katy some love by hitting like and subscribe, man. Katy don't ask for much. Katy did ask for this. Katy did. So do like Katy did and bug people and get you to like and subscribe, man. She's doing that Mcoc beautifully. Not mediocre. Katy!